Riveting content. Empowering your life. Welcome to the Sphere. This episode is sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. For more information on increasing your cash flow, becoming your own money manager, and to schedule your complimentary personal finance strategy, contact the Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463. Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today to advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789. 3 Hues Painting Studio. Come paint, sip, and party at 3 Hues. Visit our website today at 3hueshouston.com.
Well, hello. Welcome to the Docs on the Sphere TV. I am Dr. Ashandra Batiste, where we are here to educate, inform, and empower you on health and wellness topics that we have found exciting and important. Of course, you can find me on Instagram at hotdoc.com, Twitter and Facebook, Ashandra Batiste, or of course, if you need a dentist or you just want one, I am a dentist and you can come and find me at my dental practice, which is Elite Dental Wellness, located on the corner of Fondren and Westheimer. And the website there is www.houstondentalwellness.com. You can make an appointment. We all need teeth. If you don't have them, you want them. And if you have them, you love them. I mean, it's a fact. People don't take good care of them. I'm just saying. I like to make sure people know. However, we would like today, Dr. Simone is still out on vacay. Her birthday was a couple days ago, so happy birthday, Simone. But today we do have a special guest in the building. Today, Miss Tanya Prince is here. Please say hello.
Hello.
Introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are and what you're about. And
hi, my name is Tanya Prince of the Sickle Cell Association of Houston, and we are a full-service one-stop shop for families impacted and affected by sickle cell disease.
how long have you been with the Sickle Cell Association?
Well, we founded the association in 2014. As a result of our frustrations and lack of knowledge about sickle cell disease and lack of health care and health access for those who have this specific set of needs while living with sickle cell.
So you and who, I guess?
Myself and my daughter. And my daughter, she actually is the reason why, we birthed this. She actually lives with sickle cell disease.
Okay. And what's your daughter's name?
Her name is Quinicia McCruz.
Quinicia McCruz. Wonderful.
Yes, so she's 26 years old.
Okay.
And still in school. I'm ready for her to finish. Since
Quinicia, your mama needs you to hurry up. Wrap it up.
Yes. But she has done such an excellent job with the organization and the foundation.
That's wonderful.
And so our role has been to, number one, educate and raise awareness about sickle cell disease to both our general public and our professionals, anywhere from our medical community to our teachers and school-based nurses. Our corporations, we talk to bosses who want to understand how they can best assist their employees who may be living with sickle cell disease.
Sure. So it's been about 3 years.
Yes.
How can people find you? Like, what if they have questions or they're dealing with family, friends, or themselves with sickle cell?
Yes.
Where can they find you? Is it a location? Is it a phone
Yes.
number? Is it all that?
Yes. So the Sickle Cell Association of Houston, we're actually a City of Houston partner agency.
Nice.
We are located in the 5th Ward Multi-Service Center, located at 4014 Market Street. We can be found on Twitter at Sickle Cell HOU. Our website is www.sicklecellhouston.org, and our phone number is 832-930-7224.
Perfect. Well, I just want to say thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We both have a lot of experience. Yours is way more firsthand than mine. I would love to hear stories that you have and kind of the fight for sickle cell patients to have access to care and all these wonderful things. I mean, if we're going to talk about access to care, how about we talk about the fact that this new proposal bill, which clearly does not benefit anyone but the super, super rich. And I'm not there. So I still tend to care about the people who don't have much because when you look at some things I'm going through, you'd be like, oh, doctor. The reality of this bill is that a lot of people lose. A lot of people with disabilities lose.
A lot of
people who are born with them, people who aren't born with them, and acquire them lose. Poor people, middle class lose. Rich people win. So it's billions of dollars being cut to that the top percents get cut, billions that's being taken from Medicaid, Medicare.
Yes.
And just yesterday, the day before yesterday, there was a huge protest of patients with disability on the Hill in their wheelchairs, getting arrested, voicing their concerns, because for them, they're saying, look, due to Medicaid, Medicare, I am able to live a decent life. I have someone coming to help me. I don't have to live in a home.
Right.
I can live in my own home. I can still maybe even get to work, have a normal life. But without those Medicare, Medicaid benefits, I would not be able to. And these people were doing a die-in. Like they removed themselves from their wheelchairs to lay on the floor to kind of say, we will lay here until someone acknowledges the fact that we're the ones who are losing.
That's right.
So I was watching Rachel Maddow, and Rachel Maddow was like my husband's boo in his head, although she has no desire to ever be with him.
Right.
And not because he's not amazing. She's just, that's not her cup of tea.
Yeah.
And I love her too. So, hey. Yes. So we were watching her last night, and I was blown away by, of course, she has so much information. And so she says that 1 out of every 2 babies, so about 49% of every baby, is covered by the same insurance, which is Medicaid, Medicare. That birth is covered by them. And 30% over 30%, it's like 39% of patients with disabilities are also covered under the same healthcare coverage, which is Medicaid, Medicare.
Yes.
And in the 70s, before the Disability Act was passed, there was another die-in that happened on the West Coast, and they were doing the same thing in like San Francisco and all these other places where they were doing this exact same thing 40 years ago to fight for the rights of disabled persons. And it's like we're replaying history in a lot of ways, unfortunately, right now. A lot of ways. One of them is this way, where it's affecting our health care so much. And is it complicated? Of course it's complicated. Should people who already suffer for whatever reason have to suffer more? Absolutely not.
Right.
How about how many patients or people that that are part of your Sickle Cell Association do you believe are covered under Medicaid, Medicare?
I'm going to say about 90% of our caseload is covered by a managed care plan, which is subsidized through Medicare and Medicaid.
So 9 out of 10 of your people that you are directly affecting are only able to kind of handle what they need to handle because they have some sort of subsidy through
Medicare and Medicaid. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I know we always hear the term access to health care.
Sure.
But I want it to be clear to people. It should be not just be this tagline or phrase, access to health care, because everyone has access to health care.
Anybody can walk into an emergency room.
Right.
Yeah.
But do they have access to affordable health care?
Sure.
And that's what the fight is about. And that's what
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people are missing the boat on.
Well, I'll just say this, that I have people that are in my life that have gone to the emergency room in the last month that are directly in my life that do not have health insurance. Now, one had walking pneumonia. And another one, we didn't know if she was having a stroke or if we had no clue. Neither one of them had insurance, and now they're getting their phones are being blown up by the hospitals with like $30,000 bills. That neither one of them can afford. But because they both have like okay jobs, they don't qualify for
The charity and the
exactly. Exactly.
yeah, that it's a catch-22.
So it's not about can you walk into a facility and get treatment, because doctors are not supposed to turn you away. However, the people who have access to good and quality, affordable care is what we're talking about.
Yes.
And especially these patients who need wheelchairs.
Yes.
And they need new wheelchairs, and they need ramps in their homes. And for your patients specifically, it's pain management and all of these things that go into crises that can kill them.
Yep.
And if they're concerned about can they afford it, then they will die.
Absolutely. So just like the sickle cell patients who have strokes, part of that wellness piece is can they afford to go to therapy?
Afterwards.
Yeah. It's the aftercare. So when that patient is discharged, do they have the necessary care coordination pieces in place that will get them back whole? Are we addressing the holistic approach for these patients? And
well, and realistically, so many of these people who live up here don't think about that, because they don't even have to think about if one of their loved ones or if themselves had something traumatic happen, would they be able to afford a live-in care provider? Somebody that can come in, a doctor that can come visit, because we're talking about billionaires and millionaires at this point.
Yeah.
So they're not worried about themselves or their family.
Nope.
And so they don't see the people who are over 50% of our population. They're not seeing the 1 out of every 2 births that are covered under Medicaid and Medicare. Covered. I'm pregnant right now. And these bills that are coming in, I just need to start a GoFundMe. If anybody want to help a sister out, I'm on number 3.
Yes.
None of my children have jobs.
Yes.
And we have insurance. Yeah. And so it's just, and we're not on Medicaid and Medicare. However, these are people who need it. Pregnancies happen, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, where do we want to spend our money? Do we want to see disabled people climbing out of their wheelchairs and laying on the Senate floor?
That is so heartbreaking.
That's heartbreaking. Getting carried out. And they had a picture of one young lady who had been carried out, and she gets to wherever she was getting to. I guess I don't know where they were keeping all these people who were getting arrested, but she had her hands, zip tied behind her back in her wheelchair, and I was like, "Where's she gonna go? Like, what are you doing?"
Yeah,
it's just it's so obnoxious, and I think that it's so heavy handed because people want to keep their money in their pocket, right? That's what they want to do. So let's talk about money, because this portion of the show is actually sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. Did you know that only 4 states in the United States offer financial education? 33% or more than 77 million of Americans don't pay their bills on time. 39% of Americans carry credit card debt from month to month, and 39% of adults say they don't have enough savings. Don't become one of these statistics. Let Houston Housewives of Finance advise you on increasing your cash flow and becoming your own money manager by scheduling your complimentary personal financial strategy. Contact Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463 or email us at info@houstonhousewivesoffinance.com. Ask us how you can participate in a complimentary financial literacy workshop near you. Houston Housewives of Finance are the new faces of the new age of financial services. Okay, so clearly, unless people have lived under a rock for the past 4 or 5 days, somebody passed away this week due to complications of sickle cell. Pretty sure you know who that person is.
Yes.
Did you grow up on them?
Prodigy. Yes. Yes.
I was gonna say everybody knows
Everyone
Mobb
did.
Deep, right?
Yes.
If you don't,
Where have you been?
Google them, download a song or two, because they were very instrumental. I feel like in hip hop,
Absolutely.
in the 90s,
Absolutely.
2000s. he passed away this week, Monday or Tuesday of this week. It's been a few days. Yeah, maybe Tuesday or night. Yeah. He dies at 42 due to complications from sickle cell. The backstory that I heard, which we talked about earlier, was that he was at a concert in Vegas, I think, in the heat. It was like 102 or 4 degrees, and he went in, and he was in a crisis, and he unfortunately passed away due to this crisis. I asked Gary to give me a little song. Gary, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just a little touch of a little Mobb Deep. You know, why not? Why not? You know, one time for Prodigy. It's just great. It's just great music compared to this crap that we have on the radio right now. I wish that they would like channel this sound. Channel the old like 90s, early 2000s R&B and hip hop. Because this music meant so much more than so much of the stuff that I hear today. Unfortunately, it's just catchy beats and great hooks, and that's all they have. So Prodigy will be missed. Mobb Deep will be missed. And unfortunately, this is something that he was born with, and he struggled with it. I would only imagine, and he's passed away from it. And tell me what you would, in your history, what do you feel like may have contributed to this specific crisis? I mean, of course you weren't there, you don't know, but in hearing the situation.
So it just sounds like one of the things that we always warn against and sort of educate individuals and families living with sickle cell about, to always make sure you stay hydrated at all times. Make sure that you have a sort of a healthy lifestyle and regimen, because sickle cell disease is a disease that it's unwarranted. You don't know when your next crisis is going to occur.
Okay.
And it's ironic that he passed away at 42, because the average life expectancy in 2017, with all the medicine and advancements we have, still for the male with sickle cell disease, the average life expectancy is 42 for men.
Really?
And 48 for women.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he made his average life expectancy.
Unfortunately.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah. However,
because 42 is young.
It's young. It's so young.
That's young.
That's so young. And we have had some medical advancements with helping to increase the longevity and the lifespan of individuals living with sickle cell disease. But I feel that there's so much more that needs to be done.
Okay.
There's only one FDA-approved drug for sickle cell, which is called hydroxyurea, and it is a cancer medication.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there are some clinical trials that are out there that we try to educate the public on and about. The one thing that I really talk about a lot is for individuals who have been affected or impacted by sickle cell disease to educate themselves on these clinical trials and studies that are out there and are available, and they can always do that.
They can always join into a trial and all that.
Yeah.
So I mean, the basics that you are feeling about Prodigy could have been, he may have pushed himself to the limit with the heat. He could have also been tired. I don't know if he had maybe some other performances that were kind of on top of each other. Hydration is so real.
It's so key.
And that's real for all of us, but I would assume for sickle cell even more. And so it's just unfortunate timing to bring you here based off of something that everyone was talking about this week. However, I do think that, and I will say this, growing up, I thought, sickle cell, you only lasted about 21. So to hear that 42, although it's young, it's better than 21.
Yeah.
And 48 is better than 18. So it is progress, but clearly not enough.
Not enough. Not enough at all.
Yeah. So we're gonna continue this off of Facebook Live. We thank everybody for joining in and watching. We appreciate your support. We adore your support. We ask that you please subscribe to the show. We're everywhere, just so you know. So you can't say you can't find us, because we're on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. You just go to the Sphere. We're under Docs. We're not saying that the other shows aren't amazing. However, you're here.
Right.
At least subscribe to us, and then, go add a couple extra shows, because the Sphere has some amazing shows. Review our show on iTunes or in iTunes. We like to hear what you have to say. It'll be nice to get some constructive feedback from you guys, because although we like talking about what we like talking about, we want to hear what y'all have to say. And we want to hear if you have any criticism, of course, constructive and nice, but criticism. Share this Facebook Live post and the entire show with your family and friends. So many people in our community need more education, need more information. It's so much false information out there. There's so many Google doctors
Yes.
out there. I love Google. It's my favorite search engine.
But
However, you have an opportunity to interact with doctors and professionals, healthcare professionals that can give you some really good information. So please share this and donate to our mission. Reach in your pocketbooks, please, because our mission is to bring enriched and inspiring content each and every week. And it would be nice to have some dollars behind that. And you could do that by going to www.thesphere.tv/donate. Oh man, we have a really great Facebook thing. I'm gonna bring this up because Kellyanne just had a really good long post, and I want to say that. But thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, and Kellyanne, I 100% agree with you. The other defunding of Medicare is the huge impact it will have on hospitals and providers.
Yep.
So the hospital will leave hospitals to bill the patient for the remaining balance. So that just means that there'll be less hospitals will start losing funding, and they will start getting shut down.
Yes.
And then the access to care will no longer be easy.
That's
Kellyanne, thank you. One time for you. Big clap. I appreciate you. Boo. We'll holler at y'all later. Thank you so much, Facebook Live. We'll continue this. So if you want to hear more about what we have to say, subscribe. Okay. So we know that there's Prodigy just passed away. Give me some other famous people out there that you know of course.
Of course, T-Boz.
Yes. T-Boz of
Mrs.
TLC.
Kiki Shepard, who has a foundation as well, and hosts annual events towards sickle cell and raising awareness each year.
So Kiki Shepard is from
Showtime at the Apollo. Remember her?
I remember her. I'm just making sure.
Beautiful, tall.
Yeah, the one
yes.
who they called her. Oh my God, what's the girl from Wheel of Fortune? What's her name?
Vanna White.
Vanna White. They
Yes.
called her Vanna Black.
Yes.
She was the
'Cause
one that
she
would be
went
all
to the
graceful,
tour.
and she was
Yes.
gorgeous, or
Yes.
is gorgeous.
Yes,
So
she is gorgeous.
T-Boz is gorgeous, and
Yes.
she she's been very vocal about her struggle with sickle
she
cell.
has been.
Kiki, I did not know has sickle cell. I did not know that she actually has sickle cell and that she has her own foundation. There she is.
Beautiful,
Vanna
beautiful.
Black. Yes.
Has a very, very
Yes.
good foundation out there.
That's wonderful.
In
That's
LA.
wonderful. And she
does a lot.
She does a lot.
Does a lot.
That's good. That's good. And now you guys have your own foundation. So you have some
Yes.
good kind of templates out there
To follow.
to
yes,
follow. So that's
absolutely.
fantastic. I would assume that one of them would be hers. I would assume. To look into and to talk about, and hey, let me go to some stuff and inhale as much information as possible, because you
yes.
want this in Houston. We
Yeah.
need this in Houston.
We do.
We have the largest medical center in the world. Mm-hmm. And you're telling me that there's only one drug for sickle cell patients.
Can you believe that?
And I think that that's highly unfortunate. So for people who don't know what sickle cell is, can you please give them the scientific, but not in doctorese?
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Can you do that?
Yes, I can. So sickle cell disease is a genetic disorder where our DNA, so let's pretend that we're working on this assembly line, and on the assembly line it's doing the same thing all the way through.
Okay.
And so our DNA does this coding, and then from that coding it goes to our messenger RNA. Well, what happens is something happens, or someone stops that bed on the assembly line, or creates a glitch. And when that glitch happens on a person with normal DNA, we have what's called glutamic acid on our sixth position.
Okay.
Theirs produce valine
Okay.
on the sixth position of their gene, of their beta chain.
Of their DNA.
Of their DNA beta chain.
Got it.
So what happens is on their amino acid chain. So
Got
what
it.
happens is inside the red blood cell, which is our oxygen carrying component that carries the oxygen from the lungs to our body. Well, inside our red blood cells, we have an iron-rich oxygen agent called hemoglobin. The hemoglobin is what transports the oxygen from our lungs through the rest of our body, which allows us to live freely and we can do what we want to do.
Okay.
However, individuals who have sickle cell disease, they do produce some of that hemoglobin. However, they suffer from their cells deoxygenate more frequently and faster than ours. So once that oxygen may go out from some of the cells, it doesn't reproduce back to its normal state, and it will gel together
Okay.
and create an obstruction in our vessels. When that obstruction occurs, we are at risk of strokes. We're at risk of, they're at risk of strokes. They're at risk of what's called pain crises.
Okay.
And what I would like to do is explain what some people living with sickle cell describes those pain crises to feel like, just to give you an example.
Sure. So let's just
Yeah.
for clarification purposes, as the sickled cell, so that instead of having a nice like kind of ovalish
Yes.
red blood cell, there's our sickle, which is like a hook.
Yes.
Inside of that sickle cell, they still have hemoglobin,
Yes.
but it's not as healthy or as productive
Exactly.
as the healthy red blood cells.
Exactly.
So they'll have some, of course, red blood cells that are normal, but then they also have these sickle cells. Well, then once the sickle cells are deoxygenated, or their hemoglobins are no longer great in there, they end up sticking together.
Yes.
And as they coalesce together, they end up clotting veins and arteries, etc. That can lead to pain crises, strokes, many other things. But
Yes.
the biggest thing that I've heard is the pain crisis.
Yes.
And that's what sends patients to the ER.
Emergency room, yes.
Okay.
And for a lot of the patients, some of them describe that pain as the sharpest glass if someone breaks a bottle on the ground and that sharp glass rolling through your veins. Or some describe it as an blood pressure cuff wrapping your entire body, and it's never released. It's just pump, 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 pump.
Around your entire body. So
Around
like
your
head to toe.
entire body. It could be in the legs. It can be in the arms, and and some describe it as someone having knives and they're just being stabbed nonstop. And this can be for a matter of minutes, or it could be for a matter of days.
Sure.
That this pain happens.
Oh, so of course we're going to continue to talk about this pain and patients that go through crises. However, gotta interrupt real quick to discuss how you would love to come in and have some advertisement on the show, on the Sphere. If you are starting your own business and looking for a place to advertise, do you have a need to reach out to thousands of people across the world to build your brand or sell your product? If so, get your product placement and advertising needs handled right here at the Sphere. We offer a wide variety of content delivery platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Plus, we have a vast demographic reach within the United States as well as modern countries across the globe. Our enriched content and inspiring dialogue, coupled with your strategic ad, is surely to hit the mark every time. Call us today at area code 832-772-7789 or send an email over to advertise@thesphere.tv. So when patients go into these crises and they go into the emergency room and they feel like, blood pressure cuff is, encapsulating their whole body, their legs, their chest, their arms. They feel like they're being stabbed repeatedly. glass is traveling through their circulation system, which, Jesus, that sounds like torture. How are they treated? What is their treatment?
So some hospitals, they use a pain management protocol that they have in place for individuals with sickle cell. But for the most part, they do treat with opioid types of medications for the pain and fluids to make sure that they are well hydrated.
So my nanny, she's my first nanny. She's the one that Logan fell in love with probably soon thereafter me. So my middle son, well, I call him my middle now that I'm pregnant again. So he's my baby right now. He's 4. My nanny, and you may know her, so we'll talk offline, and I'm not going to say her name just because she doesn't know I'm talking about her. Although she's a very big advocate for sickle cell. So yeah, she's done some commercials and stuff for an association. Now who, I don't know, don't make me lie, but she did it at my house, so I know that they were there. Anyway, I had a cousin who passed away. My only experiences have been with my cousin who passed away at like the age of 21, who she was my second cousin. I knew her as having sickle cell. So she was I felt like kind of coddled and I would use a term, kind of the sickly kid, right? Nobody let her do anything. She was quiet. So when she passed away, it was kind of like, this is sad, but everyone was saying it from the time she was born that she was not going to live.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a surprise, I guess you would say. Then I meet my nanny, who I was like, oh my gosh, she is so amazing. She is great with littles. So she's been on disability since she was, I want to say in her early 20s. We're about the same age. Okay. So she's in her mid 30s. Okay. She may be a year or two younger than me, but not by much. Okay. She may be 1 or 2 years older than me. Either or, neither nor. We're around the same age. She's been on disability for forever because for her, when she would go into crises, a lot of her employers would not understand it. And that's and as her employer, I eventually got a little frustrated because, and it's not her fault, but it was frustrating to have someone who you rely on that cannot get out of bed. Or she would go into crisis after crisis after crisis, especially once Logan got active. So when Logan was, of course, an infant and slept 10 hours out of the waking hour. It was
perfect for her.
It's very easy for her. But once he became, I would say crawling, I could start to see it. But when it was like, I got to take him outside. He needs fresh air. We got to go to the park. He's going to swim. I got to go pick up the older daughter. Like all these things, it wore her out.
It did.
It wore her out. Sent her into one of her crises, and I was like, I feel we're so responsible for this because we're asking for you to do things
that sometimes her body just won't let her.
And that we need you to do. And so she ended up leaving us and going to go work for another family that was having a baby, like a newborn. Okay. And so that worked, and now she's not working because she really recently had a stroke. So she'd gone into a crisis. She knew she was going to the hospital, so she knew she was going to get admitted. She wanted a shower. So she took a shower. Her dad's at the front, at the door, like, come on, you need to come on because you're not feeling good. We need to get to the hospital. And he hears her hit the floor. So she has a stroke about a month ago. She was in the hospital for about a month. Yeah, she's alive. Thank you, God. Yes. She is alive. Yes. They were able to repair the brain bleed. She did have a brain bleed.
Oh, my.
So, of course, like a third of her hair is gone. And it was so funny because when she was with our family, I got her to stop like perming her hair and all this. Yeah. And so she had this like great hair because the morphine makes her hair brittle and come out. So her hair got healthy. So she's so disgusted about this. Like half of her hair gone and her right side is a little paralyzed. Okay. So she's in therapy right now, but she's on Medicaid, Medicare, and she's been on it for forever. And so she has the access to care. And for her, she gets to feeling really, really, really good, and then she pushes herself, and then she goes into
a crisis. Yeah. You have to really know your body and be realistic.
Okay.
And what I tell people is just accept this is who you are.
Okay.
Not that you're necessarily different. It's just that you have to know when you've hit your limit and be okay with that. Be okay with what your limitations are.
So your daughter is 26.
Yes.
When she was, did you know before she was born that she was gonna be a sickle baby, or did you
No.
only know after? Okay,
Only
'Cause
knew
now
after.
they do all these
The
tests and all
testing,
that.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So
Yes.
you did not know until she
Did not
made
know.
it into this beautiful world.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And that's one of the things that we talk about a lot because, you hear all this talk about, what's your HIV status, but no one ever thinks to ask a mate, what's your sickle status? Do you know whether or not you have a sickle cell trait? I definitely didn't know to ask that, or that just doesn't even cross your mind.
Did you know that you had sickle
I
trait?
knew that I had the sickle cell trait.
Okay, before you had your daughter,
Yes.
and is she your only child?
She is not. She
Okay.
is not.
Okay.
So, so she was that 25% chance of the child having the disease. So just because two parents have the trait does not necessarily mean that 100% of the time the child will have the disease.
Isn't it 50% with that?
It's
something
a
like that?
25% chance they'll
Oh,
have.
it's 25% if they both have the
if
trait.
both have the trait.
Oh, I didn't realize
there's
it was
a
that low.
It's
Okay.
a 25%
Okay,
chance.
okay.
But what I like to tell people all the time is that it's with each pregnancy.
Right.
Because
Right.
some people think, okay, I had my one with sickle cell, so let me go and have some more, because we have families who have 5 kids and all 5 have
And
sickle cell.
all of them have sickle.
Have sickle cell.
Wow.
And it was just the roll of the die with them.
Wow.
But yes, so I knew that she had sickle cell when she was maybe about 2 months after she was born, 3 months after she was born.
Okay. And how did you know?
Because what they do now, starting in '91 here in Texas, they mandated newborn screening, and sickle cell became a part of that newborn screening.
Okay.
So that was a good thing.
Yeah, because she was just born.
Yeah, she was just born.
Okay.
What happened with us, though, because there are different variations of sickle cell disease, and many people don't know that, we had to go through.
I did not know that.
Yeah, we had to go through a process of, which variant of this disease does she have?
So are there more serious variants versus, can you explain?
Yeah. So she actually has sickle SS, which is known as the most severe. And then you have individuals like T-Boz who has SC disease.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So SS is the most severe, or known as the most
It's known as the most severe.
T-Boz has SC.
SC,
Oh,
yes.
okay. Okay.
And then you have your hemoglobin SB thalassemia minor and your SB major. And that's a little bit tricky.
Okay.
With
Well, anytime you throw in a Greek letter, it
Yeah.
becomes tricky.
you saw that, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I became a little tricky at that beta.
Yeah. And what a lot of people don't know is that hemoglobin SE that you see,
Okay.
a lot of Asians are affected by that.
So it's not just a black person
It is
disease.
not.
What?
And we work really hard to tear down some of that.
Stereotype.
Yeah,
Sure.
stereotype. Yeah.
Sure. So SE is a common
Amongst our Asian
amongst our Asian population. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. So your daughter has the variation which would
Yes.
be considered the most severe.
The most severe, yes.
And I would assume that in this fancy terminology and that breakdown that they would have some form of reasoning for it, whether it's how your cells sickle and how they the type of hemoglobin, like what's in these cells. I'm pretty sure they break it down like that, and that makes sense. That would make
Yes.
sense to make it as
Yes.
because it's clear. It seems like all these pies aren't the same pie.
No,
Got it.
it's not.
Okay.
And there's a test that they use. It's called a hemoglobin electrophoresis.
Okay.
That helps them in determining which type that they have.
Yeah, what are the hemoglobin cells actually
Yes,
doing? Which is how these are breaking down.
Yes.
So I would assume that your daughters, I would assume they sickle a little bit easier or quicker. They either whatever it is that make it the most complicated ones out of the.
Yeah, but what I tell people all the time is to not necessarily define themselves by their diagnosis, because for her to have what's known as the most severe type, she's gone nearly 2 years without a hospitalization, without crises, and that's where some of the healthier regimens come into place. Like people with sickle cell think that, oh, I should not exercise because I'm going to go into crisis. When in actuality, they need to be exercising.
Okay.
They should definitely be
And
exercising.
why should they be exercising? What is it about exercise that
Because
would help them?
Yeah, it helps with their circulation.
Their oxygen?
Oxygen, yes. So, you know.
I'm just making you say it. That's all. I'm just.
And
I'm just here to prod the conversation. That's all. But that makes sense.
And we
though.
talk about not necessarily how you say your cousin was coddled a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We tell parents to sort of stay away from that.
Okay.
Don't do that. Mm-hmm. Allow them to be active in sports, but maybe limit their time.
Yeah, or maybe pick a sport that is not as, full of
Yes.
exertion. Like let's
Yes.
just say instead of football, let's try golf.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's try swimming. Something that is maybe easier on their joints.
Well, swimming in a heated pool.
In a heated pool.
Yes.
That makes sense. Yeah. All my daughter's a swimmer, so most of her pools are heated.
Yes.
So I would just think that there's ways, like you said, that there's, and we're going to get into that on what would be your recommendations for patients that are living with sickle cell to do to kind of have a 2-year crisis-free life and turn that into
possible.
3 years.
Yes.
So let's pause for just a second because we have, and I don't know if you've ever heard of 3 Hues. 3 Hues is actually sponsoring this portion of our show. It's where you can come paint, sip, and party at 3 Hues. Join a party or book your own private event for kids or adults. Let 3 Hues help you create your masterpiece on canvas step by step. A painting party is perfect for any occasion. A church function, wedding showers, team building, Girl Scouts earning their badge, date night, birthdays, or anytime you just want to have fun. Ask them about their summer camp programs, kids club, special events, and wine glass painting events. Did we mention that 3 Hues is mobile too? Yes, you can go to the studio or they can come to you. Visit their website today, 3hueshouston.com. So, as you brought up, there's some stereotypes with sickle cell, and I would love for you to give a few. One of them we already talked about, that it's not just African American disease, right? Everybody says it's or let me not say African American, a black disease, because it's across all African cultures.
Right.
That it's stereotypical. Like I didn't know this, so I didn't know there was an SE version of Asians having sickle cell. So hey,
Yeah.
learn something new. I live to learn.
Yes, indeed.
So thank you.
Indeed.
So we have that, and then we have the fact that if 2 parents both have the trait, then it's really, it's only, and I say this loosely, only 25% chance that your one pregnancy is going to have sickle cell anemia.
That's correct.
Let's talk about this trait.
Okay.
Because if you're saying that now we know that it's not just in the African bloodline, who can have this trait? And what does this trait mean for people? If you have the trait, I have the trait,
So
you have the trait. What does that mean for us?
that means that you inherited that trait from one of your parents.
I know what side.
And what we like people to just be mindful of as they grow older, you may have been told when you were younger that you have the trait, or the parents may know that one child has the trait, but for whatever reason, the information doesn't get to them as they grow older, and they forget, and they meet someone, and then boom, they are facing having a situation with a child born with sickle cell because maybe the other person has a trait and they didn't know it. So we just want everyone to be familiar with their sickle cell status. Also, current findings, and I'm not sure if you all are familiar with this, but it's cancer. It's known as RMC, or it's called renal medullary carcinoma, known as RMC. And the common variant, they're finding that people who have this type of kidney cancer has sickle cell traits. And
look at how all this is
what's
tying in.
showing up in our hospitals is not just African Americans
that have the trait.
that have the trait.
So you're talking about, now we're talking about, Asian. We already have Asian. We already have African.
Caucasians.
Talking about Caucasians.
We've had some Caucasians show up at MD Anderson with
this actual
RMC.
cancer. And after
With
doing
sickle
all of
cell
that, it's
trait.
like, oh, you have sickle cell trait.
Yeah, absolutely.
At this point in time, all of us are all
Yeah.
mixed up. So you think you thought you was all one thing.
Absolutely.
Then you get sickle cell trait.
Someone was doing something.
Then you want to do a whole gene test. You want to send some blood, figure out what you are. You've been calling yourself white your whole life, and now you're like, oh Lord, I got sickle cell trait.
Yes. So, and even now, you've in the past for decades, physicians say, oh, you have sickle cell trait, you're fine. But now they're saying through the National Lung Blood Institute, they're saying, wait, whoa. Sickle cell people with trait may be experiencing some symptoms that a person with sickle cell disease has. So, for example, me, when I fly for more than 2.5 hours, I have to get up and walk the plane because I am in severe pain in my legs, like severe pain. I used to get tired a lot. And some people with trait, they experience those things.
Similar things.
Some similar things.
Sure.
And we have the comprehensive sickle cell center here, the UT Comprehensive Sickle Cell Center, where they actually see people with sickle cell trait in their infusion center. So
because they're dealing with symptoms or things that aren't, they do not have sickle cell anemia. However, they're dealing with symptoms that can only be treated. So tell me what you think as far as, what are some ways that our patients who are out here, whether you have trait and you're like, man, well, yeah, maybe that's what it is, or they have, like I said, family or friends that are dealing with, or themselves that are dealing with sickle cell anemia. Your daughter clearly has you and your daughter have clearly worked hard, probably together.
Yes.
Over the last 26 years, clearly. But she's had 2 years of no crisis.
Yes.
I would assume that that's a pretty fantastic stat.
That is fantastic and almost.
So congratulations.
Yes. Especially
Unheard of.
Being young and, not, when you're off at college, you don't do all the right things.
Sure, of course not. She shouldn't. You only do college once. Don't listen to me.
Yeah. But yes, so, but one of the things that we did as a family is that we always talked about eating as well as you possibly can. So having a diet rich in vegetables and fruit. She did juice a lot, which kept her hemoglobin levels up.
So juicing veggies and fruits?
Juicing veggies and just a small portion of fruit to get those green leafy vegetables in.
So she was doing a lot of spinach.
But it's not what you think. It's not what you think.
That's what my daddy says.
It's not what you think.
Y'all lie. That stuff tastes just like I think it does.
Yeah. And so it helped her stay out of the hospital. And growing up, we didn't do like juice and soda and all those things. So her first inclination is to go to water. Yeah. She's a water girl.
Her first taste is water.
It's for water.
That's good.
Yeah. So I try to tell parents also to just make sure. And one of the big things in our family that we were afraid of was the addiction component that people don't talk about, but you hear a lot about it now with the fight against opioids.
Yeah, I mean, because that's you pretty much, you told me when we talked about treatment is that it's pain management and opioids. So like morphine, like morphine tabs, which
fentanyl.
Yeah, fentanyl. Like that's those drugs are highly addictive. They are in a class all by themselves. They're at the top of the list as far as addictive drugs, to the point where they're only written in hospitals these days. Like I can't write them in my office. So it's always funny to hear a patient ask me if I can give them that, and I'm like,
you're like, what?
Take 800 milligrams of Motrin and I'll see you later.
Yeah.
So the idea that patients can be addicted because they're also in pain. So where do you find that kind of place? Because their pain is very
The pain
real.
is real. The pain is real. But what I think what happens is, so you have these children who's been on these pain meds since 5, 6, 7, 8, 15, 23.
Sure.
And so what's happened is they develop like a
resistance.
Tolerance. Towards it. So
Yeah.
they up it. So one of the things that we did as a family was alternative measures to pain.
Ah.
When she first had an onset of pain, we don't wait to see if it's going to get worse. You take a Tylenol. Like you say,
Immediately.
you
Okay.
take a Tylenol. You
Okay.
take something, because once that pain is at an 8,
You need the morphine.
It's so hard to bring it down.
Yeah, you
It's
need
so,
the morphine
yeah,
at that point.
It's
Yeah.
so hard to
Yeah,
bring it
yeah.
down.
And it's going to get to 9 and 10 quick.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Uh-huh.
And so we also did things like massage therapy,
Okay.
acupuncture works. It worked for her.
Okay.
Meditation. Just putting her in a room, total darkness, no electronics, no phone, no
Sure.
TV. Those things work.
So in Houston, with it being so warm,
Mm-hmm.
is a warm climate better for sickle cell patients or a cooler climate?
No, a warmer climate is better for
Okay.
the sickle cell patient.
Okay.
Cold, it's not good for a sickle cell patient at
Okay.
all. That's
Okay.
why when we were talking about the swimming pool, if a child with sickle cell is coming out of
Okay.
the swimming pool, make sure you're there with a towel to immediately wrap them in so that their body don't go from an extreme temperature so fast, because that will trigger a crisis.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So warm is better. Maybe
Not hot, but warm.
Warm,
Mhm.
meditating and warm, quiet. Not not talking about sweat boxes here.
Yeah,
people.
no
We
sweat
talking
boxes.
about- Let's not put your baby outside in a
being
tent.
in
Just
a nice
warm, climate-controlled room.
Yeah.
Learning how to pray through it, talk through it, work through it.
Mm-hmm.
Taking intervening early with non
If you can.
narcotic
Yeah,
medicine.
non-narcotic.
Ibuprofen, Tylenol, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of see if you can keep it down. Keeping your vegetables high,
Mm-hmm.
your sodas, your juices low, your junk food
Yeah.
low. I would assume fried food, all that
Keep it
low.
low.
Yeah, low. Yeah, you know.
it low.
And making sure that it sounds like your daughter had a wonderful support system as far as finding people, whether you have that currently or you need it. It sounds like having someone to help you out through this was a good thing for her.
Exactly.
I mean, massage therapy and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's hard to massage yourself. So it would be nice to have somebody help you rub that back down. Man, I need to
Yes.
talk to my husband. That's, man, I've been talking about this for a long time now. I don't know when this is going to happen. But the other piece is you say that there's alternatives. Now, you know that these, and we haven't even talked about this, so I would love to hear what you have to say. There's these states out here, of course, that are legalizing medical marijuana. Have they done any research on medical marijuana and sickle?
Yes. A lot of, in other states, sickle cell patients that we know, that's the alternative approach that they've taken
Instead of morphine?
instead of the morphine, and they're doing well according to them.
Of course,
They're
according
doing,
to them.
They're doing very well without it.
I think that is, I can't remember. I can't remember who I was having this conversation with. Blame the baby. I'm growing two brains. I have two brains.
Yes.
I'm growing one. So she's absorbing it. But I can't remember who I was talking to about medicinal marijuana. And I was like, look, if there's science behind it, I would much rather a patient who has to take something acutely for chronic conditions that's man-made versus like natural. Like we talk about veganism and organic and everybody eating up whole foods and running to the organic aisle, but yet when we say, hey, there may be something else out there that you want to take for pain or somebody who's dealing with going into a crisis, well,
Yeah. The National Institute of Health actually just posted a publication not too long ago about the potential benefits of
medicinal marijuana
Yeah.
and sickle cell.
sickle cell.
Well, that would be one of the greatest things to happen for our sickle cell patients. And I do hope that we get some more medicines out there if it's going to take years for medical marijuana to finally kind of take grasp and not just be in a few of our states. At least there could be some more research, and I know that that's what you're pushing for.
Yes.
For
Yes.
not only you and your family and your daughter, but for everyone.
Yeah.
So please, by all means, tell everybody again where they can find you, who you are, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. So we're the Sickle Cell Association of Houston, located at 4014 Market Street in the Fifth Ward Multi-Service Center. You can reach us via email at care@sicklecellhouston.org, or our website is sicklecellhouston.org.
I would like to thank you so much, Tanya, for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
It's I think this is great information. So many of the diseases that affect people, besides like the big ones, you know, cancer and HIV and AIDS, get a lot of talk. And I'm not saying they don't deserve it.
Right.
They deserve it.
They do.
However, sickle cell, you don't hear about it until
don't.
Prodigy dies.
You don't hear about it.
Until T-Boz brings it up, right? And there's a lot of patients out here suffering. I pray that that this administration does not cut from people who need healthcare benefits, because I believe you when you say 90% of our patients that are sickle cell patients are on Medicaid, Medicare. So I pray that it's not cut.
I know.
So it's
Our hope is for a cure.
Me too. Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be nice. And
Take
so-
those billions and get a cure.
Yeah, invest in stem cell therapies.
So thank you so much. Of course, I am Dr. Chandra Batiste. You can find me on Instagram at hotdoc.com. You can find me on Twitter, Ashandra Batiste, Facebook, Ashandra Batiste. My dental office, Elite Dental Wellness at Fondren and Westheimer. You can reach me at www.houstondentalwellness.com, or you can call my office, 713-789-8680. We thank you so much for listening to this show. Thank you again, Tanya, for coming in. We would love to have you back, and maybe even your daughter, to talk about her experiences, and once maybe my nanny gets back on her feet, her experiences.
And I would love you all to come out to our walk in September. September
What?
9th. Yes. Start a team.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate it. Thank you to our viewers and our listeners. Please subscribe, share, love us back, give us feedback, and we will catch you next time. Peace out.